Good evening and welcome to a special edition of Richard French Live. Now, you may not realize it, but almost every aspect of your life has become public and it's become accessible at a moment's notice. So tonight we have a special RFL investigation that focuses on your privacy or lack thereof. We're calling it Surveillance Nation, Your Identity Exposed. In today's fast-paced, super-connected, technological age, everything you do leaves an easy-to-follow trail of digital footprints that reveal who you are, what you buy, where you go, and so much more. This personal data is one of the hottest commodities in today's big business. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry for advertisers and internet giants like Google and Facebook. But for the average consumer like you and me, it can amount to an invasion of privacy. Now, when you hit that like button on Facebook with your virtual thumb, you are voluntarily divulging personal details that are being tracked and analyzed. The trouble is, those personal details, they're no longer yours. It becomes data that you don't own and have no control over. What's worse, that data can then become commingled with surveillance information regarding your whereabouts. It can paint a picture that might be accurate or might be open to misinterpretation. Now, for more than a decade, particularly in response to the terror attacks of September 11th, surveillance systems, they've been recording and storing your data, your image, and the personal information you thought that no one knew. And it's all happening without your knowledge or permission. In today's world of smartphones, security cameras, and tracking devices, the line between security, privacy, and civil liberties, it's getting thinner and thinner. Privacy advocates, they've long warned that employers, lawyers, or law enforcement could acquire detailed profiles derived from tracking and use it potentially unfairly against people. Now, it appears the government could be watching you in ways that George Orwell's Big Brother never even dreamed of. Now, if you think what I'm talking about is the stuff of science fiction, you're about to see how wrong you really are. Our investigative reporter Kim Lengel, she took stock of her own digital footprints for an entire day, morning, noon, and night, tallying up every moment that she could be tracked.
I'm one of millions of people that pass through Times Square every year. Between the tourists and the commuters, it may seem that everyone blends in. Someone or something is watching. Silently and constantly, there is an unblinking eye recording, storing, and analyzing your every movement, and maybe more. From the moment you wake up, you're unwittingly feeding information about yourself to corporate and government databases. Will it rain today? When you speak a voice command to an artificial intelligence program like iPhone's Siri, everything you say gets sent to Siri's big data center in Maiden, North Carolina. There, it translates what you said and returns the best results back to the iPhone.
It doesn't look like it's going to rain today.
Siri's forecast may not always be accurate, and if you're worried that Siri might have loose lips, privacy experts say you should be. That's because Apple won't say who can access the data or how long they store the data.
I don't think you'd understand a joke in my language. They're not so funny. Anyway.
Funny and inappropriate jokes included. The company also admits to collecting a bunch of other info from your phone, including the names of people in your address book. That's one for Big Brother. If you get your news online, guess what? Log into Gmail or search on Google. Some internet companies like these keep track of the websites you visit, the content you search, and ads you click on. They rely on your data to put out more ads that are tailored to content you've been searching for. Even here on the road, your image and data are being recorded. Closed-circuit TV cameras send data back to traffic management centers where workers look for disabled cars or drivers that might need help. Believe it or not, even inside the car, there's 2 devices tracking my every move.
Now turn right.
You'd be right if you guessed my GPS, though it's actually my cell phone running a GPS app. Many people don't realize that cell phones are constantly registering location information with cell phone networks through towers like these. In response to a congressional inquiry this past summer on the explosion of cell phone surveillance, wireless phone carriers reported that in just the last year alone, they responded to more than 1 million demands from law enforcement to identify the location of a particular cell phone. Let's not forget the Easy Pass. This is one of those options where you're trading a little bit of privacy for a ton of convenience. Paying tolls electronically raises a few worries. First, that your personal information could be used illegitimately. The computer system you've surrendered your credit card number also records data about your movements and habits, and no computer system is immune to hackers. If you think you can escape Big Brother by taking public transportation, you're wrong. Even though swipe cards usually aren't tied to a specific account, many stations are equipped with surveillance cameras. Getting to work, you'll likely encounter several devices that employers often use to keep tabs on their workers. Key fobs and access cards are used to prove your identity electronically. They can also grant or deny access. They also contain an RFID or radio frequency ID chip that trips the sensor automatically opens a door. The time of your arrival and the door through which you entered has been recorded in the company database. By the time you enter the workplace, you should be ready to smile for all the security cameras that'll catch you during your day. In fact, there's practically nothing you can do at the office that can't be monitored. From email to phone conversations, computer monitoring, and video surveillance, someone is watching. If your lunchtime plans require cash from an ATM, the convenience might be costing you more than that crisp $20 bill. The video surveillance camera on the ATM records an image of the person withdrawing cash. Since most ATMs are Internet Protocol or IP based, that footage can be transferred to a central monitoring room and digitally stored or viewed over the Internet. High-tech IP cameras now have video analytics like motion sensors, facial recognition, and behavioral recognition to identify abnormal activity. Almost every big business, from supermarkets to chain stores, use video cameras to monitor customers. Most post signs alerting customers that they're being monitored. But these little pieces of plastic can track your habits too. Whether you're shuttling home a week's worth of groceries or buying a pack of gum, you're probably not concerned that the supermarket could be compiling a profile based on what you buy. After all, who really cares if you prefer strength over softness? Big business cares. They use these cards to keep tabs on what you purchase, how often you shop, and what your preferences are. That data typically gets outsourced to third-party companies called data brokers. Now, if your day involves posting status updates on Facebook or tweeting on Twitter, whatever you say has the potential to be viewed instantly around the world. It even has the potential to drive a revolution. When you do the math on all your digital footprints and the number of times your private data could become public, my magic number after an entire day, 45. When you consider the amount of times your privacy is invaded in one day, it's astonishing. Now imagine that amount multiplied by the number of people here. It gives you a sense of the volume of personal data that corporations and governments are collecting. Rich, back to you in the studio.
All right, Kim, thank you. Now, after watching that piece, think about for a second your own number. Is it higher or lower than what we just demonstrated? Now, if you find that alarming, you're not going to like this next part either. Believe it or not, the online industry and businesses that collect your personal data, they're largely unregulated. That's because Congress has failed to enact baseline privacy protections. We're going to be talking about that much more later on in the program. We're also going to be talking about everything from Google to the controversial NYPD Muslim surveillance program. And it all begs the question, if you have nothing to hide, should you be worried about privacy? That's our Facebook question of the night. So tell us what you think about living in a surveillance nation. Much more to come, so please stay with us.